kind of went viral pretty early on, I want to say, in like this AI ad scene.
What's the scroll stopping content? That's something I always tell our writers is like, how do we stop the scroll? And I tell this to brands, like this brand is dead or alive based on the first 0.4 seconds.
This ad was shown in the NBA finals. That's why it got a load of media coverage, because it was shown on the big screen. How did that opportunity come about?
And then when VEO3 came out, it went from like, oh, these are cool art projects to like, oh, these are actually insane ads.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast by Gen HQ. Today we're joined by PJ Ace, who's one of the most notable people in the AI ad making scene across the entire globe. He had his advert featured in the NBA final, made entirely using AI. Since then, that video got over 50 million views and went crazy viral, and his AI agency has just exploded. In this podcast, you're going to learn how he landed that major client and how you can also use a similar strategy to get big clients of your own. He also breaks down a step-by-step framework as to how he actually creates these AI adverts and how he's able to charge up to $50,000 per video. There are some absolute gems inside of this podcast, so please get your notebook out, start making some notes, because there is some real value exchange to be had here. Enjoy the podcast. Okay, welcome today, guys. So we are joined by Mr. PJ, the man himself. So for those of you who don't know PJ, he is actually probably, I want to say, one of the most notorious AI creators kind of in the scene.
For all my crimes and infamy.
PJ has worked on some really incredible projects, and you kind of went viral pretty early on, I want to say, in like this AI ad scene that's now like emerging rapidly with the Kalshi ad. So do you want to introduce yourself and kind of give a brief background as to who you are and some of the things that you've worked on?
Yeah, super excited to be here. Obviously, we've been friends. I'm actually like, I'm in your course too. I'm learning this stuff too. So you never arrive. Each day I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that.
Right.
But really excited to be here and kind of help contribute what I've learned. 15-year commercial director, grew a YouTube channel to 1 million subscribers, launched my own Hollywood show that I wrote, directed, and kind of raised money for. And now, essentially we were spending $1 million plus per episode last summer. And I was like, screw it, like there's got to be a way to disrupt this with AI. I'm tired of Hollywood having, control, or, brands having control of what's in budget, what's out of budget. Just AI just felt like, of course, what we all say is like, democratizing creativity. Like the best idea wins now. It's not kind of what's possible, what's not possible. It's just like, go do it. Don't wait for any gatekeepers, and I know you kind of share that too. Like, don't wait for permission, just go create crazy shit. And it, like, the rewards always come, on the other side of you just saying like, hey, I'm like, it's like the whole pushing a car, gets you better than like hitchhiking there. You're like almost at the gas station. People see, okay, this is what they're about. They're almost there. They're cheering you on. And you have to be the one to say, here's who I am. This is my unique point of view. This is what I do. And like, we should make something cool together.
So it's interesting that you kind of mentioned this idea-based like thing where it's like prior with traditional media, it was like, okay, we have an idea and it takes 3 months for it to actually come into fruition. Whereas now we can develop something much quicker. Do you believe now like AI ads and their success are really down to the idea more so than the execution? Or do you think it's a real combination of the two?
You have to have the technical skills to like execute on the idea, but that's in some ways like relatively easy as the tools just get better and better. I think it really does come down to like, what's the scroll stopping content? That's something I always tell our writers is like, how do we stop the scroll? And I tell this to brands, like this brand is dead or alive based on the first like 0.4 seconds or not. Like the opening shot has to be viral. So I'm really excited to kind of showcase like what I think broke through the noise with the Kalshi ad, why it went mega viral to have like 50 million views on it across platforms and earned media, and how we can kind of deconstruct this to like going forward, how people in the program can learn how to kind of do this, not on command, but like go more viral consistently than not, because there are a few techniques I've picked up and I'm excited to share them with you today.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think a bit of context as well is that this ad was shown in the NBA finals, right? And I think that's why it got like a shitload of media coverage, just because, it was shown on the big screen. How did that opportunity come about before we dive into it?
Yeah. So I made a couple viral. I mean, I've been making like viral AI videos for the last year. I did this like Princess Mononoke Studio Ghibli live action thing like back in October. It got 22 million views. I did a Lord of the Rings Studio Ghibli thing earlier this year, and then when VEO3 came out, it went from like, oh, these are cool art projects to like, oh, these are actually insane ads. So my first one I did was this Pupperman like fake depression commercial where they just send you a pill and you take the pill and it secretes a pheromone and attracts puppies. Everyone was
Okay.
like, this is awesome. And I made it like the day that VEO3 came out. I was at the Google I/O conference and I knew. I just left immediately when I saw that that's what was dropped. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make the next viral ad. And I got like 3 million views the next morning. And so, like I think time of like timing your viral videos around new products is definitely like a hack, because people always want to know, okay, Midjourney V7, V8 just dropped. Like, who's making the, so like just kind of understanding what's coming up really helps you to hack the system. But like you said, essentially I did the Pupperman commercial. I did this Bible influencer thing where like it like
Yeah,
opening
I
shot,
remember.
Jesus on a cross. He's
Yeah.
like, God about to BRB. And like, I mean, with an opening shot like that, come on, man, this
Right.
was like destined for TikTok glory. So yeah, I got like 8 million views on TikTok, and I had like 500 followers on TikTok. It's actually not a platform I like, because in the sense of like, I don't really do our ads on TikTok because it's rare that like company ads are going viral on TikTok, but it is possible.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like we did win for Popeyes, and that got like 3 million views on TikTok. So it's definitely possible. It just has to be fun. You can't have like a B2B SaaS company come to you and be like, okay, what's going to go viral with like 18-year-olds? Like,
Right.
I don't think so. I really don't. We can make some crazy shit, but we're not going to
Yeah.
make it go viral.
Yeah.
So there's always, but it's kind of that like, all right, well, what taps into X, what goes viral kind of on like the Twitter platform with the tech crowd, like, and we've had a lot of success kind of finding like viral niches, just because
Mm.
something doesn't, it's like Kalshi is an anomaly in some ways that I don't actually think even I can recreate, in the sense of it was like first major NBA finals, pretty crazy ad. Okay, that's what went like 3 mil organic, then 10 mil across media, and then 40 mil earned media, because it was a story about the story. So that's a pro
Mm.
tip that I do want to tell filmmakers, is that like you're telling brands that like, yeah, this is cheaper and it's faster than live production, but it's also the story about the story. Like, we talk to brands now, like whoever is making the first NFL spots with AI, they're going to win, because again, it's like the story about the story,
Sure.
why these tools are different, how you're making them. And like what we can talk about at the end is like how I even do my Twitter posts and breakdowns, because like that's half of why people click on this stuff, is they just want to know like, how'd you make it? Like even all my peers, like there's stuff they can teach me, and like I'll watch their ad because some of them are cool, but at the same time I'm just like, what are the new techniques you're learning? What are the tools? And like that's what gets the engagement, virality, because you want retention to the end of the video. You want people to bookmark it. You want people to like it. You want people to comment it. But just saying comment, like, and subscribe like doesn't do shit in today's day
No.
and age. You have to basically give value, and then if you give value, people kind of give it back with their attention, right?
Right. And I think this is a really interesting point for the viewers to take away, is that really leveraging socials and actually making those breakdown videos like after the fact, that even if you're making a spec ad and you're just posting that to try and grab some attention, sometimes the breakdown videos of those actually perform better than
Way better.
in general will perform better than the actual like
Yeah.
performance of
Yeah.
the spec ad too. You notice it with people who create like they'll show like the editing timeline underneath the video that they've created, and it just adds another element of interest. So
Yes.
providing that
Yes.
insight, people love it. They love value. So PJ, let's dive into like this actual breakdown that you're going to cover right now on the ad that, got all of these impressions. It's really interesting that you've kind of like capitalized on comedy as well, and like especially leveraging social and like focusing on social for your ads. I guess you kind of, as you're pulling that up, if you want to share your screen, I guess like with that, like what's interesting is that with using social to like actually promote the ads is like less traditional format in terms of like creating ads for TV and things like that. Do you see that ads on social is kind of more what brands want, as opposed to like ads that live on other platforms?
Yeah, there's pretty much only social ads now. I mean, TV ads, I guess, kind of exist as their own medium, and I don't want to discount them, but like TV viewership's dying. People are just watching less and less TV. Traditional ad, like you should always be formatting ads in many ways for social. Which what that means is like you don't have to have like a hard 30-second timer, but essentially like we're still, even our most viral like recent ads, like they're still like 30 to 45 seconds. So I'd still aim to pretend you're making a TV ad, but what social means is like the stakes are so much higher for the opening shot. In TV commercials, like people are on the couch, it's too much effort
Right.
to hit the mute button. You'd spend 3 calories reaching for the mute button just for so definitely it's like, yeah, just you have to focus on the opening hook. So we'll talk through that as I show this
Yeah.
kind of Kalshi video, what worked, what didn't work, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool.
Let me pull it up. Cool.
That's it.
Okay, so this is the ad, and like I just want to like we'll break it down afterwards. But what do you see in this opening shot? I mean, one, you see it's pixelated and morphy because VEO3 still has a long way to go. When you see it in motion, it's a lot more engaging. But I just pictured like old man in his 90s in tidy whitey underwear getting arrested by cops, but being interviewed while he's being arrested while wearing an American flag. Like, old people in their underwear wearing an American flag must be like some sort of weird kink of mine, but I just think it's the best. I just think it's the best thing to see on screen. So a lot of my ads have like old people in their underwear. Don't search my browser history. No, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. Kalshi ad.
Indiana gonna win, baby.
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on. I'm all in on OKC.
Indiana got that dog in them.
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year?
Kalshi!
Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S.
OKC.
Indy! OKC!
Amazing. I
Insanity.
guess so much of that is just like, I guess each scene when you were making that what was the thought process? Was it just like, is pretty much each scene that we're creating here like gonna be almost like a viral hook in itself to constantly re-engage?
Kind of like, yeah, I view this as like cocaine marketing. It's just like straight dopamine to your face with every shot. Like I'm not, I'm like, I do a lot of like comedy work, but I'm not that funny with like my writing. I'm funny more with like kind of the visualization because I'm more of a director than I am a writer. So I like, and I grew up in Florida, so like I've seen a truck on the side of the road in like central Nowheresville, Florida that says fresh manatee. Like a lot of these characters are kind of GTA inspired,
Right.
but in a sense, like growing up in Florida, which I don't know, it's like almost like bogus, but just total bogus craziness. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to build each scene with that in mind of like what hooks you visually, and then how do we start to switch from like opening crazy visual to connect it to the brand. So in the case of this, and I'll walk you through the script in a second of how we did it, but essentially like the brand's like, it's a sports betting ad. I've got different people saying like, who are they putting their money on? And you've got people saying like OKC, you've got unhinged old people. They actually had to pull this back quite, like, they're like, old people don't use our app, it's college kids. So I had to have a like young, attractive college kids being the ones
Right.
who are interviewing old
Got
people.
you.
Is kind of
Okay.
like, yeah, that was like the tie-in. And then there's a couple just tips and tricks I have. So like in VEO3, this was all like text to video, but essentially, like his face is super morphy here, but
Yeah.
as you see, like what I did is I did cut in as like a separate shot. And so I was able to kind of have like this cut in shot and then the chickens in the background. But VEO3 will actually do a cut in here, and it'll like give you higher
Oh,
fidelity.
so that was
and
one generation.
yeah, that's one generation. You basically
Okay.
say her line, which I'll show you that, and it says cut to in brackets, and then he finishes the line. So this
Got
is
it.
like an 1/8-second clip, and that's really helpful for
Oh.
like scene consistency, character consistency. Otherwise, it would actually be pretty hard to have like the same setup here.
Not
And
impossible,
this is
but definitely hard.
yeah, it's like same exact farmer, same exact coloration, same framing. So I find this like cut to once you have a starting image, and then you can also do some crazy stuff now that they allow image upload. So you could take like a screenshot of this, and you could even go like close up of her face, go to close up of her. You can almost get like a reverse close up of her as she's turning around if you take a screenshot of this. Anyway, there's a lot now. Like cut to is now like the best tool within VEO3 now that you can
Wow.
upload stuff.
I never knew that. So you're basically like almost using almost like a flux context kind of derivative, but inside of VEO just through prompting
Yes.
Are you using image to video obviously more so than text to video right now, or do you still see a use case for text to video now that we have image to video with audio?
Yeah, so this whole ad, like this came out like 2 weeks after VEO3 launched, so all we
Yeah.
had was text to video.
Yeah.
Now we do a fair bit of image to video because I like with the clients, I like they like us being able to storyboard.
Yeah.
But for a lot, especially like young creators, like nah, just do VEO3. And I've got some really crazy like ads that we've done that are just all text to video based. It's fast, it's easy, but like on really high end productions, like they're gonna want to like kind of pre-sign on everything because otherwise, like it's just honestly you have to regenerate the commercial like 6 times if you're generating one as a rough draft for the client and then they want tweaks, and it's a lot easier in the long run if you do everything image to video because you
Mhm.
can just get pre-approvals. But if you're just doing it yourself and spec ads and all that kind of stuff, I think there's a lot of power in just text to video.
Mhm.
So essentially everything was just pretty like high energy. I like to have like characters screaming. It's like screaming, she's screaming, and put it all in like caps. You'll see the prompts in a little bit, but it's like she screams at the top of her lungs,
Mhm.
characters screaming, all that kind of stuff. Um, and then, just characters, more characters screaming, running from the cops, on a boat, the boat explodes, she explodes. Like that's how it ends. So
Yeah,
let
cocaine
me,
marketing for sure.
exactly. So let me stop sharing 1 second and then I'll take you through the prompts.
Mhm.
So when the client came to me, and this is this is very like simplified scripting that I tell people, like, one, if you're going for this more like dopamine centric advertising style, like just think through your visuals, like your scenes, and like in some ways you could generate mid journey shots and then animate them, but like again, this is back when there was only text to video. So I just watched the GTA 6 trailer and I was just
Mhm.
like, okay, let me just think of some crazy things. So we've got like Muscle Beach in Miami, outside of a gas station, freshly caught manatee, old guy surrounded by a ton of hot girls, like alligator entering a gas station while the customers don't even care, fast and furious street race, cops holding guy in handcuffs. He's wearing, so you can see a lot of these. And these were just me like ideating. You can work with ChatGPT too.
Right.
Hey, ChatGPT, I want like a, GTA inspired Florida man style bunch of locations, go, so like
Mhm.
it's very, very iterative. And
Yeah.
then they were saying like, okay, here's your different things we want you to talk about, Indiana versus OKC, because that was the NBA finals teams. We want you to talk about egg prices, how many hurricanes were this year. There was a couple other ones that we didn't use of like just kind of betting on major world events. But, in the end, it was essentially just these 3 things that we kind of talked about. And then I just basically started taking what are different lines. So, okay, Indiana going to win. I need a bunch of variations on that. I'm all in on OKC. Will egg prices go up this month? How many hurricanes this year? And then it was just like, I mean, that's it. So it's like these lines, and then I just started copying and pasting these ones from up here of like what are the locations, and then it was like
Okay.
man getting escorted by police in basketball court, iced out kids in their 20s and on a swamp boat, lady in front of the pickup truck, country bumpkin farmer, and then essentially you can just copy and paste this into ChatGPT and say, okay, here's my script. I want you to go one by one and create prompts for these. But here's the big tip. You only want it to give you one prompt at a time because I can give it a prompt structure like this, which I'm happy
Mhm.
to share with you. But like it will condense the crap out of this if it gives you
Yes.
10 prompts at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So you have to basically say, okay, here's the context. Here now is like I want you to spit it out one at a time. So then you just upload a ChatGPT. Okay, copy and paste. It's like here is your prompt structure, and then that's the one of prompt one. So if we go into here, like initially, I didn't realize I needed it to be an old man. You probably can't see that, but it was
No.
like it wasn't
Yeah.
an old man, so yeah, it wasn't as funny. So then essentially I just had to change it. But how I changed it is instead of like going into here and I would just copy and paste this back into ChatGPT, and I would say
Mhm.
make him an old man, or like make it a bit closer, make the make the camera shape, and then ChatGPT would give me a new prompt which I would paste back into VEO3 here, and that's how you kind of iterate rapidly back and forth. So this was more of a close-up version.
Mhm. Got it. Yeah.
Lot better. Yeah.
Just let's summarize that for the viewers then. So your first step was to, if we go up to those like shots or like almost like the scenes, you kind of laid out these crazy ideas for scenes that you wanted to put into the ad. So you
Yep.
kind of went through that GTA kind of style. Then next step, you had like some lines, like actual active speech delivery that you wanted the characters to say, and then you married up that speech to certain locations. So like people would say that in this location. Then with that combined, you then took that to ChatGPT to build out a master prompt for each of these individually.
Yeah. And this master prompt works from project to project to project. It's like a very universal. It's not the stupid JSON prompts. Like I think that's like super overrated. You essentially just need like it's just a description. So like I do say like cinematic handheld medium shot. You say cinematic to try and get the like slightly blurry background. You say handheld because I think that like if things are handheld, it like helps offset the AI mystique or whatever. You say medium shot because for the most part, like medium shots, they're not as blurry as like wide shots can be with like face details. And then you essentially go into like your person next, what the action the person doing. If there's a secondary person, she's walking beside, and then he says Indiana gonna win. So all of this comes through. And then sometimes like this is not even always necessary, but you can do the whole like time of day, shot type, lighting, environments. But anyway, once you have that, this like I could take this into 100 different projects and I can still tell it, okay, with this new script for Coca-Cola, I'm still going to tell you this prompt structure. And then I need you to like, go through my shot list and turn my shot list right here into a prompt list, but only one at a time.
Got it. So that's really interesting. So now once you have that single prompt structure, you would then take that to ChatGPT and be like, this is the exact prompt structure I want, but just replace out key parts. So like the location, the person, and they say this. So then you're like sticking with that original prompt structure. If you guys, viewers who are watching this, would like a breakdown of that prompt structure, let me know and we'll go ahead and build that out for you so you can kind of use a similar one. This is
you can also really just screenshot this and like take it at preview or whatever, and I can send it to you, Rourke. But this is also on my Twitter. I'm happy to share. Like I found that there's no more moats anymore. Like processes, everyone knows most of them. Prompts don't really. It's taste. Taste is the one thing. So I try and just give away everything, and I would actually encourage everyone to do the same. Like the more you're helpful to other creators, the more helpful people will be back to you in return.
Big time. I mean, like PJ and I met at a free pick event in San Francisco, similar time to when VEO was coming out. And yeah, I think that like since then we've kind of kept in touch. And I've been saying to the other guests that we've had on here is that community and like actually making sure that you scratch other people's back is so important in this industry right now because it's still very small. Like this industry still feels very small, especially like the top 1% of creatives. So like, yeah, definitely provide as much value as you can to like colleagues, peers, friends, whatever you can, and it will pay you back in dividends.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So then honestly, like the rest of the ad was I don't even have to go through it too much. It basically, spits out per shot, like the next shot on this. And then, it goes to this. So this one didn't have the cut too. So then I did it again with the cut.
Wow, it's so effective.
It really is. And just so you can see what it looks like. So this previous shot was not this. That's the only difference in between these two shots. But then I added, we cut to a close-up shot of him responding, and then it's this. And you can actually see in like the morphiness of his face, he looks like terrible here. So I would probably just in the edit, I would start as she's saying this line. So I'd cut on my endpoint here, and then as soon as she's stopped saying it here, so you barely even see his face. He just kind of rises up above, and then we cut out this dead space. We cut out this dead space. Wow, I don't even know what that is.
That's crazy, Morph.
But then we hit our input right as he starts to speak.
Yeah.
And then we cut out. So you're always like, and that's I think what makes the difference between a lot of like amateur-ish creators between like more advanced filmmakers is just knowing how to cut out as much fluff as possible.
Yes,
like,
thank you for saying that. Oh my
compressed.
God. Yes, these 8-second generations that you get, or whatever it is, 5 to 10 seconds out of these tools, please do not just use those as your like actual output. You have to mine the actual useful data from inside of these videos and take that, and please like condense everything to be as short as possible to like the maximum value that you can squeeze out of that clip. And yeah, I think that's super, super important.
Yep, exactly. I was showing their team this other. I was talking to the creator of Bombas. I was basically, he was like, "How do we insert our product?" And then it gave him the weirdest leg. Anyway, sorry,
So
that is so
crazy.
random. Yeah. So that's the process in a nutshell.
Mhm.
Maybe now that you kind of understand it, like truly, that's how I made the entire ad. The ad was like very simple. I didn't add complex sound design. Sound design's built in. I just added like a basic movie or
Mhm.
music track, and then like you said, it's just condense, because the algorithms want retention. So it's better
Mhm.
for you to have a 30-second ad that's tight that everyone watches through to the end than it is a 45 or 60-second one that like people only go halfway through. Things that do not go viral if people do not watch until the very end. And you'll actually see this in Mr. Beast's videos where at the start of the video, he'll do a crazy fast montage of like all the things that you're going to see throughout the video. And then he hooks you with like why you're going to watch until the end. And then he waits and waits. And then when finally like the payoff happens at the end, he's out within like 2 seconds of it because he
Yeah.
does not want anyone to like jack out prematurely.
It's interesting that you're applying this retention-based strategy to advertising too. This is something that I've been trying to do for years, and like I've been doing it with brands in the creative AI space, just like, using all of that knowledge of social media and understanding the power of retention and applying that to, the AI scene and creating effectively ads constantly. Like my entire page is basically just ads for these creative AI tools, but they're conveyed in like an educational way that's also, each video on my socials takes me about 13 hours to make, and the first 8 hours is the first 5 seconds of every single video that I make because it's so fundamentally important. And I guess applying that new retention strategy to ads seems to be the meta right now. So maybe that's something that if viewers aren't doing right now already, they should really start trying to focus on that as a strategy to help pull people in. Do you have
Yeah. So
anything else? Go on, no, you keep going if you want to touch on that.
yeah, I can show one more ad that's kind of VEO3 text to video.
So that's all we have time for on YouTube, but if you want to go and watch the rest of this podcast, then you can click the first link in the YouTube description. GenHQ is the world's largest creative AI education platform where we share educational content on all of the best creative AI tools. We also have interviews with some of the top 1% of AI creatives from all around the world. The entire goal of GenHQ is to make you a top 1% AI creative, so if you want to check it out, click the first link in our description and we'll see you in there.